Okay, Ivan. Now we're going to we're going to read a couple of mommy's favorite books. You're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. You certainly are. The world would be different without you by far. If not for your hands and your eyes and your feet, the world, like a puzzle, would be incomplete. Even the smallest of things that you do blossom and multiply far beyond you. A kindness, for instance, may triple for days or set things in motion in different ways. It travels much further than you'll ever know, under the treetops, over the snow, till it's wandered and fluttered and floated and twirled, making things happen all over the world. You're here for a reason. It's totally true. You're part of a world that is counting on you. So don't be too worried if some days fall flat. Good things can happen, even from that. Life can be tricky, there isn't a doubt. You'll skin your knees trying to figure it out. But life works together, the good and the bad, the silly and awful, and happy and sad, to paint a big picture we can't always see, the picture that needs you, most definitely. Remember that next time a day goes all wrong, to somebody else, you will always be strong. And that ball that you lose or that kite you let go could make someone's day. You just never know. You're here for a reason. If you think you're not, I would just say that perhaps you forgot. A piece of the world that is precious and dear would surely be missing if you weren't here. If not for your smile and your laugh and your heart, this place we call home would be minus a part. Thank goodness you're here. Thank goodness times two. I just can't imagine a world without you. That's so true. All of those, Mommy, means those words for you. This is a true story. On the night you, Ivan Henry, were born. On the night you were born, the moon smiled with such wonder that the stars peeked in to see you, and the night wind whispered, life will never be the same, because there had never been anyone like you ever in the world. So enchanted with you were the wind and the rain that they whispered the sound of your wonderful name. The sound of your name is a magical one. Say it out loud before we go on. Ivan Henry. It sailed through the farmland, high on the breeze. Who in the world is exactly like you? Who? Over the ocean and through the trees, until everyone heard it and everyone knew of the one and only ever you. Not once had there been such eyes, such a nose, such silly, wiggly, wonderful toes. In fact, I think I'll count to 3 so you can wiggle your toes for me. Can you wiggle your toes? 1, 2, 3. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. When the polar bears heard, they danced until dawn. From faraway places, the geese flew home. The moon stayed up until morning next day, and none of the ladybugs flew away. So whenever you doubt just how special you are and wonder who loves you, how much and how far, listen for geese honking high in the sky. They're singing a song to remember you by. Or notice the bears asleep at the zoo. It's because they've been dancing all night for you. Or drift off to sleep into the sound of the wind. Listen closely. it's whispering your name again. If the moon stays up until morning one day, or a ladybug lands and decides to stay, or a little bird sits at your window a while, it's because they're all hoping to see you smile. For never before in story or rhyme, not even once upon a time, has the world ever known a you, my friend, and it never will, not ever again. Heaven blew every trumpet and played every horn on the wonderful, marvelous night you were born. The end. Okay. This one I love too, When I Pray for You. From the moment I saw you, I started to pray. Big prayers and small prayers I have sent God's way. I prayed as I held you when you sat in my lap. I prayed while we rocked as you peacefully napped. As you took your first steps and when you started to run, as I pushed you on swing sets or we skipped in the sun, I prayed you felt safe, full of joy and content, that when I whispered, I love you, you knew what I meant. When you said your first word, repeating what you'd heard, when you mooed like a cow or tweeted like a bird, when you giggled out loud or made yourself proud, to God I said thank you, to you I said wow. As I watched you pretend, all alone or with friends, I prayed over you again and again, because when I pray for you, God knows this is true. Every word I whisper is a prayer for me too. At the moment I hear you jump out of bed, I start praying that God puts good thoughts in your head. I pray when you're smiling and when you feel sad. I pray when you're sick, embarrassed, or mad. I pray you grow strong, have passion and fight, and stand up for what's good with all your might. I pray heaven protects you, that you're generous and kind, that your brave little spirit never ceases to shine, that you believe in yourself and follow what's true, that your confidence grows just as fast as you do. As I drive you to school while you splash in a pool, as you challenge a friend to a lightsaber duel, when you open your eyes to a birthday surprise, when the joy on your face cannot be disguised. I pray you love well, that the light in you swells, that the story God writes is the one that you tell. Because when I pray for you, I imagine God's view and pray all that God sees comes alive inside you. When suddenly it seems you've gotten so tall, when you've grown up so much that my lap's way too small, when you're glued to a screen or your bedroom's unclean, when you're no longer a child, but not yet a teen, when you're running relays or performing school plays, or you're somewhere in the middle of a garage band phase. When you know all the answers, or just think that you do, when you find out the hard way, you know less than you knew. Yeah, sissy about that one. I'll pray you choose hope should you ever face fear, and seek wisdom with patience when the pathway's unclear. That you will love others, whether strangers or friends, with the same kind of love that God feels for them. When you break from your shell to stand up for yourself, and I realize you didn't ask me for my help, I'll pray and I'll cheer, I'll probably shed a tear, and hope that you know if you need me, I'm here. Because when I pray for you, no matter what we go through, the dreams that you dream, I'll be dreaming them too. At the moment you realize it's time to explore, I'll pray God gives you wings, and like an eagle, you'll soar. I'll pray where you go, that wherever you land, you'll find purpose and meaning in a role in God's plan, that you'll know who you are and like what you do, and love yourself fully as God wants you to. I'll pray you keep shining, that God keeps refining, that your story reflects what in you God's designing, that you'll give and you'll share with compassion and care, that how you live life will, to God, be a prayer. Because when I pray for you, I pray all that you do brings love and brings light, and helps the world shine like new. I love you. Mommy's praying for you, okay?